Welcome to Anime Out of Context, a comedy review show hosted by a basement dweller who grew up scrounging terrible fan subs on sketchy websites prior to the convenience of modern streaming, alongside a willfully ignorant soul whose only knowledge of anime comes from the shows forced upon him here. This show will contain spoilers, incorrect information, and copious amounts of adult language. Our hosts are not experts on any topic, and everything they say should be taken with a grain of salt. Thank you for listening, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes wonderful, but always hilarious world of anime.
And I gaze lovingly at some ravioli.
I'm Shaun Rollins.
I'm Remington Chase.
Oh man, Remington, funny you should mention ravioli because we are very excited to announce that we have two of our favorite people in the podcast sphere back on another episode.
Oh my god, David, who do you think they
got
are?
David and George.
I don't know. I didn't bring a mirror, so I don't know who the other person could be.
Welcome, David and Jordan. We're super happy to have you from, of course, the Shonen Flop podcast. If you have never heard their podcast, go check it out. But not before finishing this episode, of course.
Yeah, preferably. We've been, look, I have anxiety over collabs, so getting them started is hard for me. So when they do actually happen, it means the world to me when you guys actually like the episodes. So I'm
Hell
doing my
yeah.
best here. Today, I figured that since it's, I think it's your guys' third time on our show, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. I mean, are we going to pretend like we don't know what's coming? Are we supposed to act oblivious? Because
Oh fuck!
Yeah,
I forgot to make popcorn before we started recording.
Get your popcorn ready.
I'm pretty confident in what's coming up.
Wait, quick, Rem. What do you think of Van Gogh?
No, stop it, David. Stop
Wait,
it.
is there? Oh no! All right.
Stop
Well,
it.
out with it. What?
So for the context, we're reading a manga called Champagne, which you'll have to listen to Warm Body to get that full story. And one of the guys is like an old classical artist who lived in France, and his favorite artist was Van Gogh. And Jordan is like, no real artist's favorite artist.
It was so basic.
Van Gogh.
No, this manga had his head firmly up its own ass, and it was like, oh, we're classy. We're all about champagne. And then this motherfucker who's supposed to be like this high and fancy, like experienced and famous artist is like, yeah, my favorite artist is Van Gogh. Like, this is so fucking basic, dude. Come on, if you're like high
mean,
up.
but there's nothing wrong with being basic. So of course we're reviewing Van Gogh's paintings today.
Oh,
Yep.
let's look at this one's called Starry Night.
Jordan
Probably never
definitely
seen it.
loves his Kino.
Sure.
But no, alas, reviewing paintings on an audio-only podcast is unfortunately not the path to success. But no, Rem, you're right. Like, it feels kind of obvious what we're going to be talking about today. Because, Rem, I'm all about keeping promises on this podcast. We've kept loads of promises on this podcast.
Historically.
And with that in mind, I figured we have to, at the very least, keep a promise to our most frequent guests. And that promise that we made was to cover a anime and manga that they love and hold so dear to their hearts. And that manga is simply titled Musume ja Nakute Mama ga Suki Nano.
Okay.
Or,
Wow, the Japanese name for Chainsaw
Yeah,
Man
no,
is
I was
crazy.
gonna say, oh no, we're gonna do Chainsaw Man.
or simply titled You Like Me and Not My Daughter?
No! Oh my god! Okay, alright. Well, alright.
Is this some sort of MILF hunting anime?
Hey, you nailed it in one, my guy. You nailed it in
This was
one.
actually the inspiration
like-
for MILF Manor, believe it or not.
Oh,
It's
can't believe that's
Manor,
a real
actually a manga adaptation. It's
the bit has gone back on me. I don't like this. I made a mistake.
what you get.
I made
That's
a
what you
mistake
get.
with my bit.
Your fault. Hey.
I made a mistake with my bit.
Yep.
Oh, God.
I'm surprised you didn't save this one for if you had the folks from the Volume 1 podcast on. Given their
you
screen
know.
name is MILF Hunter.
Yeah, I thought it would be a nice, funny little bit, but then I forgot about the MILF Hunter thing. I don't know how I my
you can never forget about your identity, Sean.
I
Sean,
wish I could.
Sean, you can't escape your past.
My past. Wait, what did
His
I do?
past, his present, and his future.
We know about your postings on Dilfs of Disney World.
Oh God! You know,
That's a subreddit that Shaun
I
moderates.
wasn't planning on getting bullied today.
Yeah. That is weird that I was always wondering why Anime Out Context was a pinned post on that subreddit.
See, now you get it. Now you get
David
it.
visits it all the time and was just confused about that. Yeah.
I have it up right now. I mean, the subreddit.
Yeah. I know you
Oh
do.
God! So
You have it up, not
talking
the
about
other
the anime. Talking about the anime itself before I lose my goddamn mind. It's basically what it sounds like. Characters. Oh God. Yeah. It's about an adult, which is nice. Oh God. Raising somebody as their own daughter, and that never goes poorly. And oh
Ooh.
wait, actually, hold on a second. Oh, guys, I made a
so
mistake.
what?
I made a mistake, guys. Turns out that this is just a manga, and there's not an anime adaptation, so obviously we can't do it. So
Yeah, that's their thing. That's not our thing, Sean.
yeah, no, like
Oh.
we haven't dipped into manga yet, and I don't think that we should start with a MILF hunting style of anime, because that would probably not go great for
Besides,
either
we'd
of our
hate to
brands.
step. We would hate to step on our guests' toes.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true. That is
so-
us. We
I mean, Rem only reads one manga a year, and it's actually a week off before he resets.
I mean, we were
Yeah,
gonna have to call in the family to deal with you if you're gonna step on our toes here. We got Dylan outside with the concrete
Just
shoes.
because one of you is in New York, I don't think means you automatically have connections to the mafia.
Oh, no, the Jewish mafia are very strong. And that's actually not a joke. The
Yes.
Jewish, there's some very powerful Jewish organizations in New York City that have their own
You know
police
what?
force.
That makes sense. So instead, guys, I think we should actually talk about what people really want us to talk about. Jordan, David, it's time for us to talk about Chainsaw Man.
Oh, you mean? Oh,
Yeah.
so it's a
Of
day
course.
that ends in Y.
yes, it is. Because, guys, last time you were on, and in several of our conversations, you guys begged to be on our episode of Chainsaw Man, and I thought to myself, yeah, you know what, might as well bring the boys on.
Yeah.
Part of the reason we haven't gotten to it until now, and I thought that it would be a lovely excursion for all of us to go on together, with the big asterisk that, now boys, Jordan,
Yep.
Remington,
Yep.
I love you both dearly.
Mhm.
We love you.
And
I tolerate you.
are probably going to have differing opinions.
I mean, I'm gonna have the correct opinion.
Yeah, let me say something from the get-go, all right? Before we go off, watch it, come back in part 2, talk about it, right? I recognize that there is a not insignificant chance that I come back with a review about Chainsaw Man that is less than stellar. And I also recognize that being in a call with these three lovely gentlemen, with those opinions of mine that might form, would put me in a dangerous position. I just want to let it be known.
I'm gonna walk up behind you and just give you a swirly for that shit if you have anything bad to say about Chainsaw Man, my boy Denji.
Oh, Jordan, no, with hair like that, you have to clog the toilet.
Yeah, you better be careful.
They're gonna hunt me down. So I'm and don't get me wrong. I just want to tell the listeners, right? Look, there's a good chance you'll disagree with me. Just tune me out. Listen to the other three. Listen to the other three. You're gonna be okay.
Rem, it's going to be mostly you talking. That's the format of the show.
No, this will be fine. This will be fine. I'll just show up, give whatever critiques I have. We can all forget about those.
Maybe we should. I think I pitched this to you, Sean, a while ago, but we could just have Jordan and Rem have a debate, and then you, me, and Dylan are like the hosts, like the panel of judges, and make it like a debate
Oh.
club.
Please no.
God,
Here's the thing, though. If I end up on the other side of the debate with Chainsaw Man, it would be a pretty stacked jury against me. Like,
Yeah.
we know how everybody in the call is going to come into part 2 feeling about Chainsaw Man, except for me. That's the big question mark. And I have never wanted to like an anime more, just because it would be so much easier and simpler if I do.
Well, not every anime can be. I was about to say Rent a Girlfriend. Like,
Oh,
Darling.
jeez. Oh,
God, yeah, I don't... Hey, can we never talk about Rent-A-Girlfriend again, please?
Yeah,
We did it
I heard
once.
that really went to shit in the manga.
Oh, hey, buddy, it was shit to begin with, and
I was gonna say I
I
don't think there was a good part of that from what I've heard. I
Yeah.
haven't experienced
Went
it.
to
I
shit
don't
implies
plan on
that
doing
it
it.
had any great height to start at.
Yeah. I mean,
So, with that disclaimer out of the way, what I'm going to ask you, Remington, is a classic. Remington, what do you know about Chainsaw Man? Tell us everything.
All right. I only have what I have gathered secondhand from some friends from the Flop Boys. There's a guy who he either transforms into like part chainsaw or he is already part chainsaw. I know that there's a chainsaw dog as well, or something of that description. That's about the limitations of my knowledge.
Okay, you know what, Rem? That's a pretty solid starting point, actually.
Yeah.
Because this anime, and we're watching the anime, obviously, which came out in fall of 2022, so really recently, done by Studio Mappa. They're the we've covered a lot of Mappa anime, Rem. A lot of good, a lot of bad.
Perfect.
And so the question of whether or not the studio can handle an adaptation like this is not really one that we need to go into, because they churn out so many anime that it's like, hey, they do some good things and sometimes they don't. Like, they made Attack on Titan, so, that's a bit rough.
Oh.
Yep.
But they also made things like Jujutsu Kaisen.
Hunter x Hunter, I think. Was that Hunter? No, that was Madhouse or whatever.
No, that was who was
Madhouse, right?
Gonzo? Madhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. They made Yuri on Ice, Kakegurui, Jujutsu Kaisen. I think I
Truly
already
just
said that one.
a very wide variety.
They made Jujutsu Kaisen
Yeah,
twice.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
well,
you mean Chainsaw
hey,
Man?
yeah, Chainsaw. And you basically kind of nailed it in one, because the story of Chainsaw Man is primarily about our central protagonist, Denji, and the world that he lives in, which is very similar and almost identical to ours, except for one very important detail. And that detail is the fact that the world is,
a vampire.
well, quite frankly, the world is not a
Okay.
vampire. The world is not. Look, you got to be careful with the V word around Remington right now. We may or may not have just recorded an anime that sent him on a Friedrich Nietzsche style spiral of self-depression, and that
It was rough. It was rough.
he's a bit upset by it.
Oh,
The
Jesus.
world is unfortunately highly susceptible and always at risk to, as you might have expected,
Chainsaws.
demons.
Oh, of course. That's what I said.
I mean, the world is always susceptible to chainsaws, I feel like.
It's true. Few things
just
are
made enough
not
of them.
susceptible to chainsaws.
Yeah.
I personally have a chainsaw allergy, actually.
I'm deathly allergic.
Yeah, I just weirdly only have a kiwi allergy.
Sean,
Wait,
fine.
so to the
Take
fruit, the bird, or the person from the continent of or
All
from
of the
the
above.
country of New Zealand?
It's very complex when I want to go and get a smoothie in Zealand. That's what I wanted.
So like if Fly the Conchord starts playing, you just get into hives.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because I still want to go there and I'm still going to
It's
go
a-
there. It's just a matter of
It's a shame. He just
I'm
can't.
actually going there for my
he
honeymoon,
just
so I'm
can't.
very excited.
He just can't watch Lord of the Rings. It's a fucking shame.
Crikey.
Which is a shame because he loves it.
Yeah.
and I watch it anyways. I'm like a lactose intolerant person who just loves ice cream.
So, Dylan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Blowing up
Yeah.
that toilet.
Yeah.
First we talked about Sean peeing, now we're talking about him blowing up, taking a massive dump.
Off to a great start, fellas.
Well, to be fair, the peeing thing was only in the pre-banter, so thanks for bringing that into the main episode.
I think you mean the pee banter.
Hey.
I'll be here
I-
all week.
Oh God. Oh well. Anyways, as I have stated, the world is so highly susceptible to devils and demons and such. But the interesting thing about these devils is that they are all based on essentially the fears of the populace. And the more prominent the fear, the more powerful the devil in question is.
Hey, and if there's anything I've learned from working at a haunted house, people are terrified of chainsaws.
Yes.
That is correct.
Yes.
Chainsaws in general spark a very palpable fear response in a large amount of people. So having the proverbial chainsaw devil or the chainsaw man being the main central protagonist / MacGuffin really lends itself to a world where the massive threats are based on fears. And that's actually kind of where our story begins.
Okay.
Because our boy Denji, he's
Our son Denji,
Look.
please.
he's
Dennis.
I'm not gonna mince words with you, Rem.
Dennis, yes. I was just about to say, Rem, if you get involved in the Chainsaw Man fandom, you will see people refer to Denji as Dennis.
Why?
It's
Wait.
Because someone's phone autocorrected it and then they just went with it.
it's
So there's
Okay, of course.
Dennis, and then part 2, there's a character named Asa who everyone calls Ashley.
the joke is that like those are the 4 kids' names.
I see. I understand.
Yeah.
But now it's mutated, so now people call him Dennis.
Of course. You can't just have one layer of a meme joke. It's gotta be like fucking 2.
Keep
Yeah.
going.
The levels go deep. But the story starts with Denji, and how I would describe Denji as Remington is, well, he's an idiot. Let's start off
Yes.
with that.
Yes.
Like, he's an idiot, but he's a very he's an idiot, and he has a lot of personal desires, but he's never malicious in his desires. A true chaotic neutral character, if you really want to think about it.
Fuck. A chaotic
Yeah.
neutral idiot with chainsaws.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah,
No.
he's
Is that a wrong comparison, would you guys say?
No, that sounds fair.
This
fair.
just feels
Yeah.
like every other D&D character that's ever been made.
A little bit. And the story starts when Denji and his lovely little dog, Pochita.
I have a little Pochita
Uh,
stuffed animal, by the way. I'm looking at him right
yeah.
now.
God.
And
Yep.
he got me Jordan got me an outfit for my dog to dress her up like
Holy
Pochita.
Yep.
shit, that's
Yep.
so
That's
good.
Let's see
very
if I can get a
good.
picture of it.
That's very good. But Denji and Pochita, they're the only people that have each other. Because the story starts with Denji essentially being completely robbed of his adolescent life because his father, complete asshole, essentially abandoned him with an overwhelming mountain of debt.
Ah.
Yep, and he and Pochita work together to slay lesser devils for like pennies on the dollar, essentially. That almost inevitably goes back to his debtors, which if I recall correctly, are the Yakuza. I feel like they're Yakuza.
It's
I think that sounds right.
I don't know if they specifically say
Yeah.
Yakuza, but it's very clear some kind of organized crime family syndicate unit.
Yeah, so Yakuza
It's
essentially.
basically Yakuza.
And he is just miserable and having an awful, awful time. And essentially, at a certain point, Denji and Pochita form a special bond that allows Denji to fully utilize the power of the Chainsaw Devil. And he's taken into an organization to actually help properly fight devils, as well as, not be killed by this organization. Because usually devils are killed once they get past a certain threat level. And, since he doesn't want to do that, he votes to work for this organization instead. And that's essentially where the story begins.
Okay,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm ready to get into it, but I have a very important question.
Mm-hmm.
How many episodes do we have to watch, Sean?
Well, good news for our guests is something tells me they probably have already watched the whole first season. Is that correct?
Oh, yes.
So they'll know exactly how what I'm thinking when I tell you how many. And we don't have a whole lot of time in between these recording sessions. So as much as people want us to watch the whole first season, we're not going to be able to do that, unfortunately. Look, Rem will kill me if I force him to watch 12 episodes of an anime in a 2-day time period. He will be very upset with me.
But it's the best anime you'll see all year.
It's pretty fucking good.
They'll be
It's
thanking you at the
it's
end of
pretty
If
fucking
it
good.
is as good as you say, then a revisit will happen.
Okay.
I'm sure a revisit will happen anyways, because this is a very popular series. Like, the manga itself has, like, transcended the popular zeitgeist. Like,
I actually, fun fact, there's this Swedish pop star named Tove Lo, and due to like various things, I wound up meeting her, and I told her to watch Chainsaw Man.
so wait a minute.
You meet a
So
pop
one
star.
person in Sweden is familiar with Chainsaw Man.
She's
That's what
a,
Jordan's getting at.
She is a pop star. I asked my friend in Sweden. She is massive over there. My girlfriend.
So you meet a pop star and you're like, my priorities.
The two questions
I
I
need
asked
to spread
her,
the great word of Chainsaw
two
Man.
things I said was, "Hey, do you like anime?" She's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Oh man, I've been watching Chainsaw Man. You should check it out." I don't know what else to say to her.
Oh god, I've never felt a stronger bond with you, my
Oh
man.
hell yeah, I'm proud of it. I'm fucking proud of it.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
Yeah,
But
No,
Jordan forgot to ask if she'd want to come on our show.
yeah. I froze up at
Priorities.
that. Yeah,
Priorities.
Chainsaw Man for Jordan is more important than your show.
Oh, that's fucking hilarious.
not gonna. David might not like how I respond to that. So
So essentially, I feel like just under half of the first season should be more than enough. I think 5 episodes will be more than enough for a solid Chainsaw Man episode. It gives us enough to talk about while also giving Rem a strong vibe for the show. And by the 5th episode, it ends at the start of a proper arc with a overarching goal for the series at hand. And it just gives Rem an idea. It'll give Rem an idea of where the show will be going from there, while also making sure he has a good understanding of what Chainsaw Man is trying to accomplish.
Okay.
And a slight warning for people who are not familiar: this show is violent. When your main character has chainsaws for a head and hands, there's going to be a lot of blood, a lot of violence, and a lot of.
to be fair, this is still greatly toned down from his previous manga that he was making.
Oh god, Fire Punch was so fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just say that the author for Chainsaw Man loves his graphic details. So, without further ado, I think that'll do it for us. Let's get started. Let's go watch 5 episodes of the hit 2022 anime, Chainsaw Man.
Hell yes.
So during COVID, Chainsaw Man was still running, and like Shonen Jump is asking all the authors like how they're dealing with COVID and stuff. And you've got like some of them are like, "Oh, it's so scary." Otis like, "You gotta check in on your friends," blah blah blah. And then Fujimoto just ignores the question and says, "Hey, if you didn't know, Domino's is doing 2 large pizzas for $9.99. It's a great deal. I highly recommend it."
And we are back after watching 5 whole episodes of the hit 2022 anime, Chainsaw Man. Now, gentlemen, we've watched 5 episodes, which is a good amount to get a good, strong first impression. But as has been said in the past, a lot of people consider the very beginning of Chainsaw Man to be one of the weaker aspects of the story. So, with that in mind, I'm going to give...
I feel like you've set me up to fail in that case.
Well, look, I couldn't tell you that beforehand, Rem, because otherwise you would have altered sensibilities.
They're good enough. They're good enough. They're still excellent.
Okay, all right.
Oh, here we go.
Now I'm going to give an opportunity to our lovely guests, Remington, to expound on why they enjoy Chainsaw Man so much, broadly speaking.
And for once, we can actually get a bit of a comparison to the manga by people who are pretty informed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I will say you chose to end it on right before a quintessential Chainsaw Man is not written by a mentally stable person. I think we can say it very much embodies the spirit of Chainsaw Man, how that arc we ended on. The arc resolves that we stopped at a cliffhanger.
But unfortunately, that's just the nature of the beast sometimes. Sometimes we don't always get a chance to watch a whole lot. Because when you're consuming an anime, generally speaking, 3 to 5 episodes is usually a good amount to tell. And if the start of that arc is interesting enough for people to continue, they will likely continue and finish it at that point. That, not to mention, tight recording schedule. We've been busy bees lately, and I wanted to give a nice, good taste of what the show is like so that you could have a decently informed first look opinion. But with that in mind, Jordan, David, what are your thoughts on Chainsaw Man as a whole, and why do you think it's a good series that needs to be watched and enjoyed?
Oh God, where do in this essay I
Cliff notes, please. Cliff notes.
No, it feels so oddly straightforward a lot of the time. Like, it's hard to explain. It's just kind of you don't have to worry about all this excess bullshit. It's pretty easy to follow. And the shit that happens in it is just so nuts. Like, oh my god, I'm doing a terrible job of explaining this.
Here's the. I feel like we should just do a part where I just say, like, pretend to say a spoiler, and then Dylan bleeps it, and Rem just goes, "Oh my fucking god!" That's what happens. Can we do that? Or is that
God!
It's
As
like-
hilarious as that would be, whatever Rem says after it will immediately destroy that world you've created. That world will be
No,
immediately
it's okay.
destroyed.
But here's the thing. Making that joke, Shaun and Jordan, you both can think of at least 5 things I could say right now that would actually elicit that response probably out of Rem. And that's the magic of Chainsaw Man.
That's the thing, is it probably wouldn't work quite as well, but there is a lot of bonkers things that happen in Chainsaw Man that make it an interesting read. Because what I will say, this is supposed to be your guys' floor, but what I will say is the creativity
Thanks.
behind a lot of how the events play out in the series is what makes it interesting.
Oh, there's also a lot of depth, I feel. Like, I love Denji. He starts out with, like, such a simple but understandable, like, character motivation. His life fucking sucks. He has absolutely, like, nothing, but he still has, like, kind of, like, as much of a positive attitude as he can, going with it, like, thanks to his little guy, his little friend, his little buddy, his little chainsaw puppy. Pochita, of course. And he gets involved with all of these, like, very manipulative people in terrible situations, but because you saw where he came from, it's like, yeah, no, I get it. Like, this is, like, stunning to you that you're even able to eat every day. Okay, I kind of get it. Like, you're being treated poorly, but yeah, I kind of get it.
I also think Fujimoto, I think one of the big things is Chainsaw Man is probably one of the funniest action manga ever created. Like, I genuinely, this is one of the few manga that has made me physically laugh out loud, where I won't give any spoilers, Rep, but just when a certain character says, well, this situation is unwinnable, I literally had to stop because I was laughing so hard from that situation.
This series of episodes also contains one of my favorite moments in all of Chainsaw Man, possibly of, like, all anime, which is Aki getting ready for his morning.
And that wasn't even in the manga.
Oh, it wasn't in the manga? I didn't even know
that was
that.
added into the manga. Or that was added into the anime.
Wow. So basically what happens is you see Aki get up and he's just getting ready for his day, and he, like, makes coffee, and he, like, gets his newspaper, and he just kind of sits out on the porch smoking a cigarette, reading a newspaper. And you know he does that every day. And that's a fucking way to begin a day.
It's actually interesting. Miyazaki calls that idea ma, which is the sound in between claps. So, like, if you've ever watched, like, Spirited Away, if you remember, like, when they're on the train and there's nothing, it's just them sitting on the train for, like, maybe 5 seconds just watching the scenery go by. That's the concept of ma. And I think Chainsaw Man does a great idea where I think, to build on what Jordan said, Fujimoto, one of his biggest strengths is he knows that there is value in having scenes that are not immediately important, but not feeling like filler. So, for context, like, Shaun, tell me if I'm giving too much spoilers, but essentially after this arc, they just go and have drinks and hang out. Like,
That's not
it.
too much of a spoiler.
It just makes them feel.
fine.
That just makes them feel like they're real people. They talk about life. They get to know each other. But think about how many series they would say, oh, that's not a fight. That's not progressing the plot immediately. We don't need a scene like that. But by having those moments, these feel like characters. It feels like a living world where you find out what they are actually like, and they feel like real people that have lives outside of the plot in a way that is so rare to see in manga and anime, because a lot of them just don't either have the respect or the time to show moments like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you actually go through, like, the first volume of Chainsaw Man, the first couple volumes, Chainsaw Man barely appears. Like, he's in, like, a couple fights. I mean, Denji's obviously there, but, like, the vast majority of Chainsaw Man, Denji is not Chainsaw Man. He's just kind of living his life, and you really get to know him. Also, what I really like about Denji is that he is obviously horny.
To this day, speaking of.
But he's not pushy about it. Like, it's a very understandable, like, innocent kind of horniness. Like, it would be so easy to make that character just horrible, but, like, he skirts a line with it where it's just like, oh man, Denji, yeah, you're gonna get you're gonna get to touch some boobs someday. You're gonna find a nice girl. I believe in you, Denji. I really hope you get there.
So, all in all, you guys have very strong feelings about this. As an anime adaptation, do you think that they did a really good job? We already mentioned a scene that wasn't in the manga, so...
Yeah.
I I think it's definitely good adaptation. My one concern is I feel like the art style was not true to Fujimoto's art, but to be honest, the art has always probably been a bit of the weaker side. Like the technical quality of the art, his composition, his actual everything is great, but it's just like I just kind of wish you were better at drawing things. It's like it's hard to like maybe Jordan, you can explain it better of what I mean. Like Fujimoto is not a strong artist, but it's not like the art is bad.
I mean, I completely disagree. I think Fujimoto is a fantastic artist. I think.
I
That,
mean, dog, we
think
have
that
seen
David-
some fucking that man cannot draw shoes for the life.
the shoes are interesting, but they don't detract from his skill to me. I mean, I think David is more talking about like the cleanliness of his lines, but that doesn't bother me at all. But I will say, like, I'm trying to get used to it, but the CG is still tough for me. There's still a bit of a hurdle to get through. I'm trying, man.
Yeah,
I have.
it would be impossible to render Denji conventionally as a television anime.
Okay.
It would be a lot harder. But man, I think that the part where he's standing there and you just see like the chainsaws kind of whirring and stuff. There's like one shot where I just don't think it looks good. I think usually it looks pretty good though.
I will say,
honestly.
and this could be because just like a month, maybe a month and a half ago or so, Shaun and I we did Digimon on the podcast, and whether it be the design combined with the CGI, especially the very first like showing within Chainsaw Man of Chainsaw Man, I was like, I'm getting not strict Digimon vibes, but like they're present.
Oh my god, he does kind of look like a
He
Digimon, doesn't
both, yeah, he
Yeah,
kind of looks like a
doesn't he?
Digimon.
he kind of looks
Chainsaw
like
Dog.
The
Wargreymon.
CGI
He's
effect
got, like,
adds
a
to it.
Wargreymon thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I see it. It's a cool Digimon though, and I love Digimon, so I don't even fucking care. I don't even
Digimon
fucking care.
Tamers, man, what a great series.
Digimon Tamers, aka Evangelion for kids. That's what that show is.
Yes. It is
Yep.
something.
It is dark.
All right. So now that the Chainsaw fanboys have had a chance, Remington.
Here I am,
Hold on. Let me grip the edges of my chair and like squeeze onto like the arm bars, just white knuckling it while he goes on.
You know,
okay?
let's jump in, give a broad overview, get into episode 1, and my thoughts will gradually become apparent, for better and for worse. So episode 1, it
God.
opens up with
David, I'm here for you.
with first person perspective,
Ugh.
Denji going through like an alleyway. It was very reminiscent of those like zombie games in an arcade because they're immediately into the CGI. And he wakes up and we see that he's in squalor. He's given his own body parts for money, but he's still in debt. He goes to kill a devil with his chainsaw dog. He kills the tomato devil. Even after that,
Yes.
he's still broke as hell. We learn about like he took on his father's debt, and the Yakuza is manipulating him for money and just taking full advantage over him, viewing him as a worthless dog, right? Eventually he's about to take on another mission with the Yakuza, but as it turns out, like, mob boss has been taken over by a zombie devil, who has just a horde of different zombies, and they decide they're gonna kill Denji. They're gonna fuck him up, kill him, make him a zombie maybe, and just absolutely obliterate him and his poor dog, dump him in the trash. But we see that him and his dog Pachita, they made a deal early on. He saved Pachita's life, and one day Pachita will save his. So this is the opportunity. Pachita kind of just takes over part of his body, transforms him into a Chainsaw Man. It becomes his literal heart. And he as Chainsaw Man, he rips everything apart, just completely obliterates it. With CGI, it's not the worst, but it is noticeable.
It's noticeable.
The comparison
that is-
between
Yeah.
the standard traditional art and the CG is very apparent.
Yeah.
I do want to say that one thing is there was a lot of rotoscoping in this series as well, which sometimes you may think something is CGI. It's actually rotoscoped hand animation because it's just such it's so like I guess higher frame rate than the more traditionally styled animated parts.
David, I don't think that they rotoscoped Chainsaw Man's head.
No, that is 100% CGI, but there are definitely parts where like you're like this thing's weird and it's just rotoscoped.
Yeah, it's not the worst CGI we've seen, but
I think they did a pretty good job. It's just like CGI is still not really through its version of the Uncanny Valley yet.
Yeah.
You know?
That being said,
It's,
this whole fight scene, there's some really good just in a lot of the movements, there's good energetic animation that demonstrates like personality with the movements, which is always appreciated because very often we don't get that at all. He absolutely
Right.
obliterates all the zombies and the devil. When some other devil hunters arrive at the massacre, are like, well, shit. One girl approaches Denji, holds him as he just melts away. We learned they're from the Public Safety Bureau, and they offer him to become specifically the main girl's. She phrased it as human pet. So that's episode 1. A decent episode, gets the general tone in mind. I don't really understand why the Yakuza like needs devil hunters. But
Oh, they explain it. Because you can sell the corpses for a lot of money.
why?
Because demon parts are used for other weird shit. It gets into the series where there are things that occur they can use demon corpses
Okay,
for.
fair enough. I will accept that.
Yeah, there you go.
Then we transition to episode 2. We learn more about the woman who is Makima?
Yep.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
So Makima, who
Just a really nice and good person, you know. Just, like, really,
Rem,
really
what are your
sweet.
thoughts on Makima?
Well, I think we could just adequately convey her character by talking about her introduction. In episode 2,
Yeah.
she's in a car with Denji, and she's explaining, she's like, hey, you can be a member of the Bureau, or we can just kill you. Those are basically your options. You are a worthless dog. You're going to do whatever I say, and I'm going to train you into greatness or kill you, one or the other, all right? Which, of course, Denji is immediately like, I'm in love, which is also, curiously, Sean's reaction to being called a dog by an attractive woman.
Oi.
So,
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's realistic. It's relatable.
I think Makima, there's a few routes it can go with Makima, right?
Okay.
So first of all, she's obviously a sociopath. She is very blatantly. To make some possible predictions, and obviously everyone here will know whether my predictions are right or not, but one day
Yes.
I'll find out. They could go a route that I don't think would be as interesting, which would be your standard. It would be like subversive, like, oh, she's a little cold and aloof, but in actuality she has such a deep heart, or it's just caused by vague trauma or something, or that generic thing we've seen a million times. The other option, not terribly original either, and this is the one I'm leaning towards happening a little bit more to give it a little more credit. I think that I think she's going to end up being villainous. I'm just trying to figure out whether it's like proper villainous or a similar deal as we've already seen and we'll get to with Power, where it's like, the baddie, but not really. But I'm leaning towards it being a big bad, either revealed as the big bad of season 1 or become a big bad in season 2, somewhere around there. That's my vague impression of Makima, what I've received so far.
All right, you two, hold your
Okay.
tongues.
Some interesting guesses.
I think those are definitely theories. I will say Fujimoto is very good at making plot that you are like, I wouldn't have guessed this, but I don't see any reason why you couldn't have figured this out on your own.
Okay, interesting.
I also oh man, there's so much I want to talk about that I can't talk about yet. Fuck. I was just like, I also like, wait a minute, my example of this happens like way down the road. Damn it.
Yep.
Well, that's the nature of this show, I'm afraid. You gotta keep that
Yeah.
in mind. I do this every week.
Yeah, Jordan, you got to keep yourself under control when it comes to Chainsaw Man spoilers.
It's so hard. Yeah, David. Yeah.
We've blessed you with the Chainsaw Man episode, but then we've cursed you
Just-
by saying no spoilers past the first
Just
5
wait
episodes.
until the Witch Watch episode, and then David will suffer.
God, what a great manga.
Yeah, David is physically unable to keep himself from spoiling.
It's actually
many
for
chapters
the
of Witch
manga.
Watch.
Actually, for the manga we're reading right now, I am the entire time like, fuck, I really wish I was reading Witch Watch right now instead of this manga. Instead of Tokyo Demon Bride story, because it's pretty much the same style of writing, but worse.
Oh man, that's rough. So continuing in episode 2, Denji's like 100%. I will join. Pretty girl tells me what to do. I'm all in. Plus, she feeds me. And as
Yes.
you guys mentioned, growing up just in absolute poverty, not having reliable sources of food or shelter or just the living necessities, providing that to Denji. Hey, as with any abusive relationship forming, you take the vulnerable and the insecure. You provide them with the bare necessities and demand strict obedience. Makima also like flirts a little bit with Denji, which Denji's like, holy shit. Because it's already clear at this point, and it'll become even more overt in the coming episodes, that Denji, he's a horny boy. Boy, oh boy, is he a horny boy. He wants...
Oh, yes.
He needs a girlfriend. For a while, his driving motivation is just boobs.
Rem,
No.
Rem, you need to understand, Denji has his eyes on the fucking prize, okay?
Homeboy
Eyes
is true about what he is.
on the prize.
Look, I have a few notes about this point, coming to nobody's surprise.
Yep.
But allow me to clarify my points a little bit before everybody jumps and yells at me.
All right, I'm holding on to the chair.
Because I think that having this be his driving motivation in how it is executed, I think it's done poorly. Not for the reasons you may think. I understand, first of all, it's a nice subversion. You have a nice shonen protagonist who, instead of having noble goals or any of the such, it's not that he wants to avenge Pachita. It's not that he needs to pay off debt. It's not that he wants to hunt down devils. It's not any of it's that he wants boobs and then later just general intimacy, right? So a nice subversion of kind of like noble grand goals to more personalized, more frivolous goals in comparison. I understand that general subversion, and especially I think that it actually works as a way to emphasize that he's not a mature adult. He's very far from mature, and emphasizing that as an actual character trait and actual story point, right? It is relevant that he is reckless and immature. He's driven much more by the id in all of its forms: blood, gore, sex, violence, etc. All of that I understand and accept. So I am theoretically willing to accept this general character trait of Denji, which the fact that I'd be willing to would surprise many of our listeners. So why do I say that I don't like how it's been executed? Because unironically, most of his dialogue is all about this, and they don't try to develop any other shit. In these first 5 episodes, it is borderline insufferable how much of a point they make it. It's like, I fucking get it. I understand. Please move on. Like, not only do I understand it's a point, I understand it's a major point, and then you still keep talking about it non-stop. It's too much. It's way too much, and I think that it is poor writing on this front.
Rem, I don't think you got it.
Okay.
I don't think you got it.
You must have a very high IQ to
I
understand.
don't understand Chainsaw Man. Yeah, I don't.
I
think
will
you got
say,
it.
so here's the thing that really is annoying about where we read. The entire probably first season of the anime of Chainsaw Man is designed to make you feel a certain way about Chainsaw Man, and then the entire rest of the series is about deconstructing pretty much the first season of Chainsaw Man.
Sure, and I can already see like the general direction that it's going to go. Once again, I don't have a problem with this as a starting point. I think that the writing and the way that it emphasizes it, it's too much. It's the equivalent of like a book having an interesting story, right? But then having 3 chapters in a row being like, hey, so did you notice this thing we were doing? This is what we're doing with that. I don't know if you were aware. I don't know if you caught it, but just making sure you saw it. And it's like, I did many times. How could I not have?
What I appreciate about the situation with Denji is that there is actually depth there. Like I don't think he actually wants, as he says, boobs. Like, he does, but that's endemic of the fact that he wants to live a basic, normal life and just go through the kind of things that, like, other kids his age go through. Like literally just being in a room having jam for breakfast. That's amazing to him. And so it's like this thing that he is risking his entire life for to do, just get to fucking second base, is like it feels more like, oh dude, you're doing all this for that. Like he's kind of a simp.
This will come as a shock to those who have listened to our last collaboration. I totally agree with you, Jordan. 100%. I agree with all of your points there. Once again, I think that when it comes to the general idea of trying to live that normal life, trying to get those like basic desires, pleasures, needs, etc., working up Maslow's pyramid, 100% completely agree. I don't disagree with the concept or the direction. I only disagree with the execution and what I see as lazy writing in just how much they feel the need to talk about it. Because I don't even think it's like a little too much. I think you could have cut the amount of dialogue about it in half, if not a bit more, and it would be just as successful to accomplish those goals while also leaving time to accomplish other goals.
Give more room for scenes like
I get it.
Like the toast scene.
Okay.
More scenes that
Unironically, yes. Yes.
Denji. That's what Remington is saying. Like, just reduce the dialogue about the
I
horny
get it,
stuff
yeah.
and then focus more on the human stuff.
And once again, I have a reputation on our podcast of being a nice prude. That's not at all the point I'm trying to make. I accept the direction they're going. I even accept it being his motivation. I think it is unnecessary to commit that many lines of dialogue every single episode exclusively or primarily for this one point where you could be fleshing out other characters, the world, emphasizing those human moments more. I
get what you're saying. Yeah. So what you're saying is it's not that you dislike what it's saying. Like you just physically dislike the actual dialogue as a result, that like the repetitive dialogue. Like it's you see what it's doing, but like it actually makes it not as good for you.
I think it's undermining what it's trying to do because it just keeps going on and on. It's like if you're like, oh, I want a ham and cheese sandwich, and they're like, all right, you want 20 slices of cheese, and it's like, what? Pardon? That's I feel like, and it's like, well, the goal is to get too much cheese, and I'm like, you can accomplish too much cheese with, probably like 3 to 5 slices of cheese on your average sandwich. That would convey maybe 6 or 7 if you really want to get excessive. 20, there's no point. You're just being wasteful.
But Rem, he just really wants to touch some boobs.
Oh boy, don't I know it.
He does. You also have to remember Denji.
He just does. He just needs to.
You also got to remember Denji is 16, so I don't know if he is over-expressing his horniness as a 16-year-old teenager.
No, I don't think that he's saying that. I don't think that Rem is saying that it's unjustified, just that as a result of the justifiable behavior, it means that a significant amount of the dialogue is very repetitive and points out that he wants to touch boobs.
Let me point it out this way, right? You could even accomplish all of the talk about like boobs wanting boobs in a 2-minute montage sequence, right? Imagine if, similar to the montage sequence they had with him living with Aki, which we'll get to in a moment, but Aki is introduced. He's a character very skeptical of Denji. He's working in the bureau. More straight-laced is the impression we get of him. And they give a little montage of them living together, right? And the struggle that is. They could have done a nice 2-minute montage, right? Where they do all of those similar scenes, but where it's just Denji nonstop talking about like boobs and shit, and Aki just getting frustrated and bored, and Denji just continuing like passionately, excitedly talking about that. Then you convey, oh, he's talking about this all the time. We as an audience understand that, but you condense the actual time it takes in the episode itself.
I see your point. I think it is heretical, and I am calling the Chainsaw Inquisition over.
Yes.
I'm really sorry.
No one expects them.
We can finish this episode, and then I'm sorry. Goodbye.
Hey, it's how it has to end. It's how it has to be.
So continuing episode is a good run, I think.
Yeah.
No,
I'm not out.
Oh, you can stay.
No,
you can stay.
Thank you.
I happen to feel like it works better but like I see why you don't. Like I get it. I see where you're coming from here.
So continuing in episode 2, eventually Denji is put on his first mission, right? And he has to he immediately takes down a fiend with Aki. Aki and him have a disagreement about how devils and things should be treated. Aki is a lot more merciless and a lot more ruthless than Denji. We continue forward. We meet a new character who will be a partner of Denji. Her name is Power. She is a fiend. So for all intents and purposes, I'm going to describe this as just half devil, half human, which is also kind of what Denji is, but different. Don't worry about it. Our listeners don't need to know the difference. It's not super relevant. The point is,
it's a little complicated.
Every
but
single
you got
person
it.
in the
fiend.
bureau is connected to a devil in some way. Without
Yes.
like we haven't been shown what Makama's connection is to a devil, but 1,000,000% there is one. Or maybe she just is one. Who knows? But there's something going on there. Everybody is either part devil, complete devil, or made a deal with a devil.
Yeah. Well, that's what you have to do to survive.
I just find it interesting because they make it sound like such a weird, surprising thing, and then it's like, oh, everybody's got it. I think it's not a great way to display like, oh, how weird and abnormal. All of the characters you meet will have this character trait. It's like, I believe you in the world that this is like a pretty abnormal thing, but I don't really feel that way because everything you've shown me leads to the contrary, you know? You're telling me these are some crazy things to happen. It's the only thing I see.
Oh, so basically, Power is the devil. Like the devil. She is a devil.
Yeah.
She right? Like she's
Yeah, she's
I'm
a blood
the devil,
devil.
baby.
yeah, she's the blood devil. Whereas when these people are making contracts with the devil with again the devil when they're making contracts with the devil, they carve a pentagram on their chest. No, they sacrifice a part of their body or whatever the devil wants, and then they send like an aspect of the devil to help them. Like when Aki summons the fox devil, that's not the entire fox devil.
We should talk about the fox
That's
devil
like-
very briefly, because at one point Aki's going to summon the fox devil, or at least an aspect of it, like you say, and it is gigantic, extremely powerful, but we've learned that the devils gather strength relative to the amount that they are feared, right?
Yes.
Why the fuck is the fox devil so strong compared to things like...
Oh, dude, are you kidding me? Foxes are like, especially in
fox- you know-
Japanese culture, like
And
foxes
foxes
are like
fuck
mystical.
up livestock.
Sure,
Yeah,
but
they
I
fuck
feel
up
like they
They're-
have
but-
faced things that would elicit much more fear and are much higher on the list of fear than fox,
But
and yet
so have
fox
sharks.
is insanely powerful.
Well, no, again, in Japanese culture, like foxes aren't just things that'll fuck up livestock. They're also magical. They have a ton of like rumors about them, a lot of folklore around foxes. And so like,
But does that
like
lead
maybe-
to Japanese people when they see a fox being like, oh fuck, hi?
basically
uh,
the way that the fear system works in Chainsaw Man is it is the accumulation of fear that people feel. Like basically the more horror movies you could make about the thing in question, the stronger the devil is.
If I write a
That's-
story,
There's
if I
also-
write a story that says everybody in the world is afraid of Post-it notes, does the Post-it note devil become insanely powerful just because I've written that
It gets
story?
a little bit stronger. You're right.
Even if
Yeah,
nobody has
it gets-
actually felt fear from it.
So here's something that we're neglecting as well is, okay, yes, the baseline power level of a devil is based on the actual fear of it, but devils can still become stronger. We actually see devils die and reincarnate, and their power levels change. And not a lot of time. So it's very possible the fox devil, by having a very good relationship with humans, means that she is able to grow in power in a way that devils that aren't able to kind of be provided for, because imagine, she has all the offerings she wants. She doesn't have to worry about being hunted by humans. That allows her to accumulate power in a way that more traditional devils cannot do, which lets her be more powerful than in the scaling of the fear of foxes.
I think all of this is interesting, and also it is juxtaposed with what the show has actually conveyed to me thus far.
Look, the first of all, like I feel like you don't really always need to like know it super hard with Chainsaw Man. I feel like they're a little bit more subtle about it. They say it once or twice and you kind of gotta think about it a lot, but like they'll say it.
Yep. suffice it to say,
What the
Remington,
fuck did I just say? That was none. That
there's
was
a lot of
nonsense, I'm sorry.
mythology around foxes and a lot of history there, especially in Japanese culture, and that translates a little bit to the idea of this fox spirit being powerful. Plus, let's be honest, looks really cool.
Also, don't forget they don't have wolves in Japan, which means that a fox is taking up a lot of the fear real estate that a wolf would be taking up.
I guess what I'm also saying is that it's not the object itself, it is the concept. So like the concept of the fox, the fear of the concept of the fox, not a physical fox. The concept of a chainsaw is like extremely evocative. You know, as Makima mentions, it's like people can imagine themselves being cut up in a bunch of ways because of that. And a lot of that has to do with, I think, like the fact that there are a ton of horror movies with chainsaws in them. Like that's kind of where that comes from. It's basically whoever, like Chainsaw Man is almost like a story where the better horror movie monster you are, the stronger you are.
I agree completely. I even in Japanese culture, often foxes are looked to like extremely favorably rather than with fear. I feel like it's just a mild inconsistent note. It's not the be all end all, but it don't add up completely.
If you say so,
I do have to be honest
feel
that
like
I
it
think
does, but, all right.
I do want to say, Rem, it feels like if you're making this like a point you're bringing pretty prominently, does this mean that like there's not a lot of, I guess, low-hanging fruit in terms of criticism you have of the series? Because this is like, to be honest, like if there were a lot of structural issues, I feel like that's not the issue you would be bringing up. So I guess relatively early into the discussion of this series.
You guys mentioned the fox, and so I figured it would be a good point to mention this. And just mention the inconsistent nature of the system. They have outlined, hey, it works on fear, but also fuck it sometimes.
Rem's like, CinemaSin, hold on, ding.
Oh, God.
Why are
Please
people
don't
so afraid
compare
of
us to
foxes?
CinemaSins, please.
Yeah.
We're better than that.
Cinema Sin, Makima's ass is not that big. I do have a question for you, Rem. So, fun fact, Power is explicitly based on a very prominent American cartoon character. Would you like to make a guess of what cartoon character Power is based on?
Jesus.
I will say 100% certainty you've heard of this.
Oh my god. I think, yeah, you know, I've always found her reminiscent of Steamboat Willie.
Hey, careful. You don't want to incur the wrath.
It's not
of the
public
mouse.
domain.
Yeah, Big
It's not
Disney's gonna
public
come clamping down.
Yeah.
They're too busy
Oh,
fighting.
dude,
Disney.
the mouse devil, that's gonna come and fuck you up.
Fucking Disney
Oh
devil.
God.
Rem, do you have an actual guess, or would you like me to
I'd
tell?
like you to tell me.
It is Eric Cartman.
I forgot about
Yep.
Can you see that
Yes.
now that you think about it?
He wasn't
Oh,
expecting
Jesus
it. He wasn't expecting
Christ.
it.
I've broken
no.
Rem during that.
Holy shit.
Denji, we gotta go.
Is that your Cartman?
I've only seen the show once.
You've only seen South Park
Yeah,
once.
isn't it
You know
like
what?
man?
For one
Something
time
like that.
ever,
Yeah,
yeah.
Man.
For the first time
That's
ever
pretty good.
seeing it, that's actually not that bad.
yeah.
Yeah, I give it a 7.
Well,
out of
hey,
10.
that's more than I deserve, so thank you.
And it's more than Rem's gonna rate Chainsaw Man based on this conversation.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, David. These are some of his less harsh criticisms that he's getting.
Yeah, let's get it.
honestly.
Let's keep going. I really,
Yeah.
really want to hear the things you genuinely think are the main
Rem's
issues
just
with
gonna
Chainsaw
break
Man.
down at the end of this and go, "You guys are right. It's the best fucking anime I've
Just a divine
Rem's gonna be
experience.
like, I finished the series after I watched the 5 episodes. I had to keep going.
All right. So, continuing onward, Denji goes on a mission with Power, and they completely easily eliminate Sea Cucumber Devil, and they get in a little bit of trouble for the way they handled that. Power was reckless, and she blames Denji. They get in an argument. We learn a little bit about Power. She used to have a cat, but a devil stole her cat, and she tells Denji, hey,
That motherfucker.
if you can save my cat, you can touch my boobs. And Denji's like, well, I know what I gotta do. So Power leads him to where the cat would be. And unfortunately, it's a big old trap. She's like, I am now going to feed Denji to the Bat Devil. She and the Bat attack Denji, fuck him up, and are like, all right, here you go, Bat Devil. But Bat Devil is like, you're fucking gross, man. This is fucking disgusting. Because he's not pure human, so he's a gross boy. So the Bat's like, okay, well, instead I need to go grab like a kid or something, eat them instead. But to tide me over till then, I'm just gonna eat this this cat too. And we get some like backstory on the cat. It's pretty. It's the simplest backstory you can imagine. Power found a cat. She bonded with the cat. It was her only friend. That's it.
Yep.
Then the Bat eats Power, which I kind of don't understand, because if Denji is disgusting, shouldn't she also be? And he like kind of comments on it, but he couldn't. He like took a little taste of Denji and was like, oh fuck that. Meanwhile, he just swallows Power whole.
I think he was doing that more for just punishment.
Well,
Whereas with
it also could just be the fact that they're different in terms of the humanity scale there.
But the one that's closer to the humanity scale and thus should taste better is the one he couldn't even tolerate.
Maybe he just doesn't like his foods touching. Rem, you ever consider that?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, no, I think Shaun has a point.
You don't want the beans to touch the tomato too much. It's just it's weird.
So Denji fights the Bat, transforms into the good old Chainsaw Boy. They fly and collapse into the main city. Lots of collateral damage. And eventually Denji is able to overpower and kill the Bat Devil. Just fuck him up. I think that thus far, 3 episodes in, everything is decent, but I think like the pacing is a little bit weird. I also, 3 episodes in, I haven't gotten much of any depth on any characters or any like relationships. Everybody 3 episodes in is relatively flat. Which, it's still early, but I would have liked to see much stronger characterization by this point, much more depth by this point. But as I mentioned before, unfortunately, 60% of all dialogue surrounding Denji at this stage is about boobs. So,
but what a 60%
what is 60%?
What a 60%
and truly poetic in repeating the same thing again and again. I feel like, once again, you could have spent a lot of that time building that depth I would have loved to see. But it doesn't happen. Episode 4, we see this big leech devil shows up, who was the lover of the Bat Devil and is now ready to fuck some shit up. We also get more flashbacks to Power and the cat. First ones I understood. I was like, all right, simple.
First of all, we need to we do also need to discuss Power's naming skills with the cat.
Yeah, Meowie.
I would yes, in English the cat's name is Meowie, and in Japanese it's Nyako, which is just Meowie.
Yeah.
It's the same fucking
Yeah, it was great trailer.
Yeah. I just love that. It's like, oh, look how fucking uncreative she is. She's just like,
Which you, by the way, you can see Eric Cartman naming
Oh,
his
yeah,
cat
yeah.
Meowie.
We get
David, I agree.
We get more flashbacks, which at this point I think these ones are unnecessary because it is extremely simplistic. Like, there's not much about Meowie and Power's relationship to understand. Spend a little bit more time on that than I'd like, but not too egregious.
What I do really like about it though is like there's the thing where Power comments on the fact that, you're really skinny. I'm gonna have to wait. I'm gonna have to, make you like fatten you up before I eat you. And then you see the cat, and the cat is fat.
Yeah,
like she has made this cat big enough to eat, and she doesn't. She chooses not to.
Yeah,
and
I think one of the issues with Chainsaw Man is that it tries to make you think it's like a by the book shonen, but it actually has a lot of really interesting details that you can view in literary analysis, and so you have to be patient for some of it. Like, Shaun and Jordan, I know there's a reason there was so much of focus on these flashbacks. There are character growths, but the whole idea is that Fujimoto is trying to make these characters look extremely two-dimensional because he's trying to parody the existing shonen tropes. Like, think about how much did Naruto talk about wanting to be Hokage? It was annoying, right? And he's making fun of that by literally your criticism of how Denji will not stop talking about how much he wants to feel boobs. But the problem is you have to play the long game, which is the issue is that I know, Rem, you're not going to go and watch, the 50 episodes that this ultimately would take. And so I think that's fair criticism, but it's just something to acknowledge that you have to play the long game with Chainsaw Man. And just as a 97 chapter part 1 piece, it is just probably the best 100 chapters you can read as a cohesive narrative.
I don't think Chainsaw Man is as much of a slow burn as you're saying it is, David. I think it takes a little while to become like the best that it can be, but I think it gets pretty fucking good pretty soon. It's just
Once Rize shows up, it's all gas. You just have to wait.
I mean, I think it's still very good. Like, I extremely enjoyed watching these episodes, even though Rem is heretical. I will say again, I really enjoyed these episodes. I think it is, at this point, a very good show. I think it will become, but I mean, as we've seen in the manga, it becomes a great show.
Oh,
you know?
I agree. This is all. I would not drop Chainsaw Man, but I would not say this is a 10 out of 10 anime based on that.
Yeah, I think my criticisms to what you were saying, David, is that it feels a little too close of, oh yeah, in My Hero Academia, pervy great boy, he was intentionally awful and pervy and poorly written, you see? And it's like, okay, sure, you can intentionally do this. I just think that that's not a great way to tell stories. And I understand this one is a little bit more deliberate because it's going to, once again, be for that subversion eventually. But I think even then, you should be able to make it worthwhile in of itself, and then later be like, hey, this thing that was already pretty decent, it's actually amazing and astounding. You thought it was good, it's actually insanely thought out and creative and fascinating, instead of being like, oh, this thing's pretty shitty, but actually it's not, though. Like, that's just a less effective execution of that general approach.
But Rem, you just described Chainsaw Man by saying a show that starts good and then becomes great. That's Chainsaw Man. I don't know what you're talking about. There you go.
I mean,
Like, what? I don't get it. But like, no, I also think that there is a huge difference between a character like Mineta from My Hero Academia and somebody like Denji. As I said, Denji is not pushy. Denji.
Oh, certainly. I'm not comparing the
Denji,
two characters at all, but Mineta's way fucking worse.
Yeah.
No, Mineta is awful. Like, what I was saying earlier is that, like, it's extremely rare that I see a character in anime who's horny that doesn't bother me that way. And it's kind of impressive to me that Denji isn't like that, you know? Like, because again, with the amount that he talks about boobs, you would expect this character to be completely fucking insufferable, like, in terms of how he treats everybody else. But the fact is, like, Denji, like, for instance, Denji never goes up to Power and is like, hey, Power, I'll get your cat if you let me touch your boobs. Power is literally like, hey, I'll let you touch my boobs if you get your cat. And Denji is opportunistic, I will say.
And Denji has very low agency, and he is a reactive character, which is very unique as a shonen protagonist. But yet, that's the master of Chainsaw Man, is it doesn't feel like Denji contributes nothing to what's going on. And you see how he builds as an individual, because he lacks any sort of drive or decision-making capability, because that he's lived his entire life literally being a dog. Like, they call him Fido in the dub.
The thing is, I feel like you need to understand how base and basic his desires are, because Chainsaw Man, as you see in just like the first few episodes, a lot of the plot involves other people using these extremely basic desires to completely manipulate and use Denji. So you have to start out by going, no, he really cares about this. No, seriously, this is like important to him. Like, he decided not to kill this demon just because he didn't want to get blood on the porno mags. Yeah. Like, it's
I once again 100% agree with what you guys have said. Basically, I think now we can basically get into my overall thesis. I really, really enjoy what Chainsaw Man is aspiring towards, what it wants to be. I think that there are some crucial flaws in execution that take it down several notches. I think some writing issues, some pacing issues that make it so that it doesn't reach the heights that it otherwise could have thus far from what I've seen. And of course, only talking about the anime. I think that in an ideal world where all of its goals are achieved perfectly, I think that's a show that I adore. I would really enjoy that. It would get 8 to like 9.5 for me. Real solid. And that's amazing considering that it's a genre that I tend not to vibe with too much. I unfortunately think that it the idea of Chainsaw Man and what it's trying to do, I don't think it lives up to that great height to the degree I want it to. Which doesn't mean that it's all bad. It's still I think it's a worthwhile show. I am probably going to be rating it favorably in the end. It's just that
it didn't blow your mind.
Yeah.
You're not converted
and
to the
it could have
chainsaw
blown
cult
my
yet.
mind if the execution, if it was done better, because I think the ideas, what
Gotcha.
it's trying to do, I'm all about that. I think there's a lot of fascinating concepts about the way it seems to be, the overall trajectory, the way it seems to be wanting to develop the subversive nature, the ideas and concepts that it's wrestling with. Oh yeah, all of that I think is super neat, and I love to see it. I just don't think that those things are necessarily handled in the best way. Not always handled poorly, but almost never thus far handled excellently either.
I get that, and as we've said, like these are probably like the weakest episodes of Chainsaw Man. But honestly, I kind of feel like that's as good of a review from you as I could have hoped for. That was fine. Hey.
Sean, do you think if we were like Rem just read till I don't know, like the end of Bomb Girl arc, do you think his opinion would change or no?
I think he would have still some of the same issues, but overall I think his opinion would probably increase a little bit. It's hard to say though, because you won't know until you actually get there your point and to the point of the thing, and it's hard to say. But as things stand right now, what we watched today is essentially like the bare minimum of what you need to at least spark an interest in the show. And Rem, would you say that these first 5 episodes, while flawed in a lot of ways, you think they spark interest in people watching the rest of the series?
Oh, I would certainly say so. First of all, for anybody who's just is vaguely interested in shonen, you'll fucking love Chainsaw Man. I imagine how most people consume Chainsaw Man is haha, men with chainsaws, haha, boobs. Like it's very it hits all those primal instincts that
At first,
shonen should.
At first, I think I think
some people
Okay.
can delve deeper. I don't think most people are delving deeper. I don't think the majority of people are looking for the deep themes of Chainsaw Man. Even if many people are. I think especially where you've left me off, it's where they end up as a squad going to this hotel that has some kind of devil in it, and they end up repeating on floor 8, and it's a bit mysterious, a bit spooky. That's one of the best points you could have left me personally off, because like those mysterious spooky elements, it's like, oh, okay, that I'm all about that. And so I'm at least interested to see what happens next. And hopefully after whatever is happening resolves too.
Guys, I know what I'm doing. I'm doing.
all right.
We're gonna talk to Remington again in like 2 weeks. He's gonna have like a Pochita plushie. He's gonna be like super.
Oh yeah, let me bring up another one of my
it's gonna be great.
criticisms. Not nearly enough Pochita. Not nearly.
Yes.
They should have unironically 4 to 5 times more Pochita.
Yes, I will agree with you 100%.
And a part of
there
that,
we go, David. This is a criticism of Chainsaw.
A part
Man.
of that is like, Pochita's cute. I love Pochita. Give me more. But another part is just it builds up like, oh, your one friend, right? The one friend you ever had in Squalor, the only companionship you ever had in a story that it seems like Denji, because he's eventually able to squeeze some boobs, and he finds it disappointing. He's like, was that it? And he eventually learns that like, oh, maybe if there's a sense of intimacy behind it, it can be so much more powerful. So that sense of like companionship and intimacy is one of Denji's major driving themes. So it feels a little unfortunate that his first companion living in Squalor, being there with him when it was toughest, gets 1 episode and not much more than that, and then even then he's not given proper mourning. It's like, oh, that sucks, my dog's dead, that's so sad. Anyway, boobs. It's like, okay, that could have been done better.
So first of all, I will say this time watching Chainsaw Man again, I did get the sense that the first episode of Chainsaw Man is the last episode of a completely different anime.
yeah.
But also, technically Pochita's on every single page because Pochita's still alive in Denji's heart.
Oh,
He just
okay,
became his
okay.
heart.
Now that is the
Yeah,
most shonen
yeah.
thing you've
So,
said all episode.
Yeah. It's true.
I just
it's
love-
literally true.
I just love when Pochita says what his dream is later on.
Yeah, well, unfortunately,
yes.
you
yes.
can't talk about it. I'm sorry.
Amazingly, also
Oh,
boobs.
but it's so
Vegeta just also wanted boobs this whole time.
Oh.
Yes, something
what that
like
dog doing?
And
That dog
also,
wants poop.
I know. I feel like Sean's like, David, if you talk about what's happened in the manga anymore, I will fucking
No, I'm not that violent.
You know something, Rem? Do you think that the reason why you want more Pochita is because you didn't get enough Pochita? Like, what if you had gotten too much Pochita? As much as I don't think that's possible.
Yeah, what if they just 60% of the episode they were just talking about Pochita
Let me put,
the
if
whole
they
time?
inverted
Yeah.
the ratio of Pochita to boob talk, that would be an objectively better show. And also one I would love way more. Like, I think it would up the quality of the show in an objective fashion. But then, for me, oh my god, it would be one of the best shows.
So let me ask you this, Rem. Do you think that Chainsaw Man is the DNA digivolution of Pochita? Would you say?
I sure, why not? Fuck
I mean, it makes about as much
yeah,
sense as most
yeah.
Digivolutions.
They both look like Digimon.
It's true.
You can't tell me
I
Pochita
will say
doesn't look
another
like a
thing,
Digimon.
and I let this go because it's kind of it has elements of stupid shonen bullshit. The Chainsaw Man design is pretty stupid.
Oh, yeah, that's
I think it's
definitely by
perfect.
design.
That's
It's
why it's
purposefully
awesome.
stupid, and that's what makes it great.
Which
It's
is why I let it
exactly- yeah.
go. This is why I didn't make a huge deal of it. But I have to let it be known, like it is. It's a dumb Digimon design.
It's almost as
really
stupid as,
stupid. It's great.
using 3 swords and holding a 3rd sword in your mouth, you know?
It's stupider
Yes,
than that. I would say.
Yeah.
I honestly think it is less stupid than holding 3 swords in you than holding 2 swords in your hand and 1 in your
I
mouth.
suppose it's less
I think
stupid in
that it is
execution.
actually
It's more
less
stupid in visuals.
But with that in mind, Rem, what's the mal score for Chainsaw Man? You gotta
Okay.
nail this.
All right. It's gonna be insanely high. It's gonna be extremely high. For me, the only question is, am I dealing with like somewhere in the 8.5 to 9 range, or is it even above 9?
Especially when you consider that you've had about 5 to 6 months of cooldown, so it's not as fresh of a show. So like
I think
insane
it's
hype.
going to end up being. I mean, no matter what, it's in an insanely high range, is what I'm predicting. I think people are going to be much closer to the floppy boys than they are to me in opinion. I think they're gonna say
Those
like,
sloppy
sloppy
boys.
floppies. I think
It's worse than Sloppy Toppy.
I'm gonna say that it's probably on Mal. It's a sloppy floppy 8.73.
Well, Rem, with 605,000 ratings, Chainsaw Man the anime is sitting nice and pretty at 8.61.
Ah,
Ooh, that's pretty good.
Ooh.
That is insanely high.
yeah,
It's-
very high.
It's currently ranked number 80 on the site. So
Good God.
yeah, that is
of all anime. Damn.
yeah, of all anime. The manga is a little bit higher at an 8.76, just for you floppy boys. So the manga side
Oh,
of
yeah.
Mal rates it as the 40th best manga. So there you go for that.
Well, the manga has also long since gotten
Oh, yeah.
good. Is
Oh, yeah.
the thing.
Yeah.
But the comparison is still there. So generally speaking, people love and adore this show. They have fairly good reason for loving and adoring this show. And it shows. There's a weird, 0.6% of ratings that gave it a 1 out of 10.
The
Hey,
Rem.
those people, I'm not in that category, all right? Those are just the blind contrarians of the world. I'm an informed contrarian. It's different, I swear.
Those are the enemies of our podcast.
The
We must destroy
the blind
them.
contrarians are my enemy because everybody clumps me in with them, and then I gotta be like, no, but did you hear me actually make points, though? Did
But
you
then-
hear?
But then you insulted the water, Rem, and that's where we drew the line.
Wait, the water that makes pizza taste
Oh,
better?
fuck.
Fucking
All right,
hell.
well, let's get out of here.
We're not having this conversation again.
Thank you so much to David and Jordan for popping in on this episode. It was lovely to have you guys. And take a moment to just shill yourselves out. Tell our lovely listeners where they can find you.
Oh, well, first of all, thank you so much for having us on, Shaun. Not you, Rem. You can go fuck yourself if you're wrong. No, I'm just kidding. I love you, Rem. So yeah, thank you though, sincerely. It's always a blast. Third time. I think this is the first time that I didn't have to walk out during a fight between you and Jordan, so let's keep that up for episode 4. But you can find us, Shonen Flop, that's me, Jordan, and a guest, including we've had both Shaun and Rem and Dylan on episodes. At shonenflop.com. That's SHONENFLOP, where we take a look at lesser known manga, sometimes good, usually bad, and see did they deserve to be canceled early or not. We've read a lot of fun stuff, including material by the creator of Naruto, by the creator of Black Clover, and even the creator of JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. So really appreciate it if y'all check us out.
Oh yeah, we read Araki's old shit.
Oh boy.
Do you mind if I plug some other stuff?
Go ahead.
No, fuck off.
Plug whatever you guys want. This is your chance.
Fuck yeah. So I have a second podcast.
Ooh.
That's right. I'm cheating on David. It is called Mission Ignition. Now, there was this little old TV show from the 90s called Vampires, and you might think, oh, like vampires. No, van with an N, because it's VAN-PIRES. And the reason for this is because it follows these 3 kids who are all played by young adults, obviously, who transform into horrifying CG car abominations to fight other CG car abominations who suck gas. It is very difficult to explain, and Gary Oldman may be in it. We're not 100% sure. There is a character. His name is Van Helsing, HE''LL Sing, and yeah, it lists him as Van Helsing as himself, and it's rumored that is Gary Oldman.
For the record, there is no rumor. It is just simply someone on Wikipedia was like, I think he kind of looks like Gary Oldman, and it entirely spun off of that comment.
No, that comment was like straight up, it's Gary Oldman in an unconfirmed role. So somebody was confident about this when they said it, is my point. And he does look like Gary Oldman.
It's real good.
But anyway, also, but yeah, so check out Mission Ignition, where me and my friends, Shambam Bamina and Ganymede go into that fucking show, which is impossible to explain. And also, check out my Instagram, Jordan Forms Art.
I also want, for the record, we've been doing Shonen Flop for 3 years, and I've yet to be on an episode of the podcast.
I told you would be on the final episode, David.
Yeah,
I thought
2 years ago you said that.
We're on episode. We're like halfway through the fucking series. We never do it. It's like we just put out a new episode.
They only do it when there are eclipses over Philadelphia. So.
Basically, yeah.
Oh my god.
It took us over a year to edit the episode.
So it's an active project that you guys can subscribe to very clearly.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of subscriptions...
Notice how I don't have a Patreon for Mission Ignition. I would like to point that out.
But we at Shonen Flop have a Patreon. So actually, Shaun was our wonderful guest on our first episode on the miniseries Mago-chan, where what if Cthulhu was small and adorable and owned by a 14-year-old girl as her pet pseudo-cat?
Her cat, yes.
Yeah, it's great. Shaun, do you have any other things you would want to say about Mago-chan?
It is a GAC manga for certain. It is.
It's
gonna make you gag.
Oh my fucking god!
But once again, guys, we do love and appreciate you very much for joining us on this one. And this would normally be the part where we do our Patreon reads, but we ran a little long, and I unfortunately have to go.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. Hey. I have egg on my face for not realizing that our conversations always run long. So, Rem, you and I will probably have to record Patreon later. And plus, since this is coming out later, we probably might want to wait a little bit for the Patreon reads on this one anyways.
Shaun, I'll just let you take care of it whenever you take care of it. So, it'll be great. People love a good Shaun patron reading.
God damn you, Remington. But
there we go.
Fair. Hi, hello, it's me, Shaun, your favorite weeb. Remington isn't here right now, and you might be thinking, well, that's strange. You just recorded a podcast with him and 2 lovely other people. Well, we did do that, but then life got in the way, and before we had a chance to do the Patreon reads, I had to run away. And because of that, the responsibility for reading this week's Patreon reads has fallen entirely on my shoulders and my shoulders alone. So I'm going to do my best by myself, and hopefully people are satisfied. So with that in mind, who are we thanking this week, Shaun? Well, Shaun, as always, we want to give our love to our boy... Nope. God, it's been a while since I've done this myself. As always, we want to give our love and massive shout out to our bland bitch protagonists and magical girl tiers. But more specifically, moving on up to our yandere waifu tiers, who are becoming the most powerful devil we know because we fear them the most. And on that grouping, we would like to thank, Period, Aaron Hegland, Adaze, AJ Honey, AJ Tunnels, AO She Pui Pui's on my mole collar till I chew, incorrect buzzer. All hail Lord Helix, Alpha Angel, Elise Howard. Am I alive or am I dead? But what does it mean to live and die? Are we but cute dogs with chainsaws trapped in this big hole? Very appropriate name. Angle Angel. Are you a Neko? No, I'm a demon. I'm a semen demon. Awkward lesbian who just needs a hug. Been a fan of AAOC for years, just turned 18, meaning I grew up on the podcast. That is wild to think about, but thank you. Big Blue Bear Boy. Blake Star. Brennan's grandma got that shrimp good. I love bugs. Bree loves cheese. Same. Brock Hard for Geodudes. Cameron Ashworth. Cheese Monkey. Country Fried Goth here to remind you that you just lost the game. Creed 13. Daddy Dill, can you read me go the fuck to sleep? I'm really sick. Daddy Rem, tell me a bedtime story. Do not name your Doki Doki Literature Club character your actual name on your first run-through. I learned that the hard way. Dylan Hayden. Erica McCorkle. F-Bomb. Fantide. Farmer Weeb's Dark Fact of the Week. In 1961, Fred Flintstone and his friend Barney hawked Winston cigarettes. I did actually know that. Man, advertising was wild back in the day. Giving the awkward lesbian a hug. Oh, there you go. Glenn Michael Dolan. Nomeo and Juliet is my favorite anime. Don't remind Rem, please. Going down on Sean's grandma. Hey, cursed Waluigi, please say this. I'll do my best. Do-do-do-do. There we go. Hey, don't cough in my butt. Hunter Davies. Hunter Dane. I don't know what to put here. I finally remembered to update my username. P.S. By the next episode, I will know my GPA of the semester. I hope it's good. I, Remington Chase, would like to thank you, Shaun, for our wonderful years of anime reviews and friendship. I, Remington, will ruin Darling in the Franxx for Encrypted Cryptid. If Shaun the MILF Hunter was on MILF Manor, which MILF would he hunt? That is a question that I refuse to answer because most of them are terrible people. I will say the least terrible one. Jamhands, Janine, Jax, Joshua Dinosaur, Cassidy, Keegan Talbot, Kara Uchiha, Kylo, Lance0325, Landon Weatherford. Leave Denji and Pochita out of harm's way, Shaun. Ooh, I put them right in harm's way this week, didn't I? Whoopsie. But hey, I think it turned out okay. Liam Dunn, Link Jokerl. Methinks Rem doth protest too much about disliking lolly anime girls. Yeesh. Makeka7 Hierto, Neon Huvo Genesis, Nick Harvey, Nitsera, off to go spelunking in Daddy Rem's big hole. Oh no, I fucked my sister. Oops. We specifically tell people not to do that. Other McNutt, Paco El Musico. Please give me a cool and interesting Patreon name, Rem. Rem's not here, but I think your cool and interesting Patreon name is... Your interesting Patreon name is gonna be Clarence Applebright. Named after my halfling cleric. Pui Pui Milfcar. Rar XD, that's I Love You and Dinosaur. Rem loves the big ol'. Rem's anime chaser Japanese whiskey, neat and chilled sake. Interesting. Rhiannon Williams, Rubble-Up-A-Dub. Ross Palmer, Salty Pretzel. Segoi Dekai, that's what she said. Setsenju. Shaun, read this as Joey Wheeler, Yulkim. Words are hard. Shaun's drama is the OG Weiss Schwartzmeister. Get well soon. She is actually doing a lot better. Got her out of the rehab facility, and she's recovering quite well. So thanks for asking. Shaun, now supporter of Adam Sandler-themed adult toys. I'd rather not. Shoujo addict who doesn't need your help, just more manga to read and anime to watch. Well, let's see. Off the top of my head, I've had this one for a while. There's a very lovely slice of life romance out there that has a little bit of the Romeo and Juliet thing, but they kind of toss that aside for the most part. Oh god, what is it? No, not Boys Over Flowers. I mean, I suppose you can read Boys Over Flowers if you want. That one was a pretty popular old school shoujo, but I can't remember. It's the one where there's a prep-y all-girls school, and it's right next to a less than popular boys' school. And there's a bit of a romance between them, and the boy looks a bit like a punk, but he likes to bake cakes. It's nice. I like it a lot. Haven't read that one, read that one. As soon as I remember the name, I'll mention it. Silent Secondary. So, Sean, what was in that cup of that doom that was definitely not piss? Spicitis, tainted venom, turban, the Susanator. The three wise waifus visited the original bland protagonist. They gifted him noticing personality, white knight tendencies, and presumably other things, but Patreon cuts it off. The villain behind glasses wants welcome Chitose revisit. I don't know how that would work. We've watched the whole series. But anyways, Tiger Lily Sape. Titan CNH. Totally God's Angel. Trying to count how many fluids I can simultaneously excrete while laughing in my sleep. The current record is 7? Oh dear God. Tune in next week for a certain scientific episode of Anime Out of Context, says Misaka, hoping for self-fulfilling prophecy. Walk me home gently. Watch Eva and I'll write a poem every day for a month. Weekly haiku about Shaun's Shaun Remington edition. A true legend, an artisan of the craft. We salute you. 100p Garf. Hilarious. Welcome to Moist Boys Out of Clothing, a waifu comedy review show hosted by two MILF hunters stuck in a sweaty big hole. Rem would probably counter by saying he's not a MILF hunter, and that's entirely my responsibility, but I'm sure he'd love the big hole. What are you doing, Step Sean? Who do you think will outsmart the other? Light Yagami or Lelouch? Good question. Grand scheme of things. I think... Probably Lelouch, since he actually has a power that will, that doesn't have as many limitations. That's my logic behind it. They're about equal in terms of the Machiavellian villain vibe. It's been a while since I've read either, or watched either. Why does Haruhi get away with being a terrible person when gods get punched in the face on a daily basis, ponders Misaka? Why Sean? Wondering who has a bigger sword, Remington or Kirito? Yandere Neko, Zach Page, Xanax, Zombie Stomp, nobody. I'm skipping Patreon names until I get apology notes from all who forced me to speak the unspeakable. Sean, repent you filth. Again, I don't know what I did. I don't know what I did, but that's okay. Drunk Quetzalcoatl for Anime Out of Context mascot, says Misaka, earnestly expecting praise and reward. And that was all for the Yandere waifus. Thank you so much. We love and appreciate you. But we have to move on to the boy wizard tier, where this week I thought I would give everybody a fear, since, Chainsaw Man, fear-based devils, that would work, but we 100% have done that before. We 100% have, and if we haven't, let me know, because that'll be a nice, easy cheat for the future. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my nerdy roots and give you a fiend from the D&D lexicon. And first up, we have Adam Sandler cosplays as Juicy Hobbs and Cubbles with the MILF Hunter Sean. I don't like that. You're going to get the Abyssal Chicken. All Father grumbles about the buffer and can only count in the present, 24 weeks as of Star Wars Day. You're going to get the Abyssal Wretch. Animated Z, you're going to get Amnizu. That's an arch devil, if I remember correctly, like one of the big ones. Beethoven 1201, you get an Arcanoloth. Yugoloths, lesser known fiends. Interesting. Trying to figure out how to use them in a proper way, but maybe I will at some point. Blood Cell, not the bitch boy white ones. You get an Armanite. Carver 271, you get a Babao. Crimson Reapers, just because of the scythes, you get Bale. I think that's another one of the archdevils, if I'm not mistaken. Cryptid MILF, you get a Baylor. That's the big scary demon. That's not quite an archdemon. Or demon princes, I think the demons are called correctly. Dewa, you get Baphomet. Now that is one of the demon princes, minotaurs, and anger, and lots of other things. Drew, the almighty monarch of the big hole. You get the barbed devil. Proper spiny boy, that one. Helarex, you get a Barlgura. Think, hey, what if we made a demon a gorilla? That's what that is. Hey, Rem, if you want to stop watching horny anime, you need to care for Sean's blue balls. He's sending messages. Oh, dear. You are going to get the bearded devil, which is what I like to call Remington in my spare time. I, Rem, say that Sean's grandma is an angel in bed. I can't hold back anymore. You get a bone devil. I, Remington Chase, hereby vow to finish Sword Art Online. You get a Bulazao. If this is read after May 8th and Healer Girl isn't being reviewed, I will be a sad boy. Sorry about making you a sad boy. I really am. But hopefully this will make you happy. You get a Cambion. Kugor, you get Chain Devil. Ooh, dangerously close to Chainsaw Man, but not quite. L plus ratio, you get God, I'm sorry, but you get the Chasme. Or the Casme. I can't remember the exact pronunciation. It's a mosquito with hair, and that's weird. But hey, it's yours. Treat it well. Latino shows friends clips of Rem versus Sean. He says Sean must be a pro Garfield player. I don't like that accusation, but, you know. You get a Demagoth, which is what I call Dylan in my spare time. Massimo Martelli, you get a Dancing Flame. Surely that's elemental. Oh, nope, it's from Call of the Netherdeep. Okay, interesting. I really need to finish reading that one. Miguel De Leon, you get the Demogorgon. Not the Stranger Things ones, but the Demon Prince. The big scary one. It's a baboon with 2 heads and lots of other things. Look it up, it's neat. Mike got his Overlord review. You get a Dargaloth. Big freaky bug monster. Demon thing. Monogatari ticks all the boxes of what you guys say you want in an anime. This week, vampires and 10-year-olds are not horny. You're going to get a Dretch. New Magic the Gathering set just dropped called March of the Machines, and it's just plain terrifying looking. Should I be concerned? You should only be concerned if you get it before everybody else and post about it, because last thing you want are Pinkertons on your doorstep. You should really be concerned about the Eater of Hope. That sounds like a Magic the Gathering, and it is a Magic the Gathering, so that's fitting. Mythic Odyssey of Theros. Yep, that sounds like Magic the Gathering. Oh, Sean, real quick, before I forget, we're watching Clannad next week, right? You get the Araignées. One Piece is the only show that makes you cry over a boat, 312. Yeah, no, I can confirm. I have cried over a boat because of One Piece. Highly recommend. You get Geryon, which I believe is a demon prince. Yeah, it's like a big dude with like snake body, bat wings, and it looks like if Remington went absolutely feral and became a demon. Looking at a picture of him. PL Mare, you get the big hole. You get the big hole. Congratulations. It's what you wanted. Reki Kawahara, you get a Glabrezu. Roberto with a Concerto. You get a Garistro. Ooh. It's like a demon minotaur. Very neat. Roscop, you get Grast. That's the sexy prince. The sexy demon prince, specifically. Shamaris, you get a green Abishai. Other colors are available, but you get specifically the green one. Soul, you get just a straight-up hellhound. A nice, good, evil boy. The brown mamba is back after being abducted late in Utah for 2 years. You get a Hezro, which is basically demon, frog, bipedal monster thing. The Canadian anime Stoner, you get a horned devil. The MILFs say Shaun is the best motherfucker around. You get, appropriately, a howler. There you are. Oh, God. The way Rem says big hole is amazing. Change my mind. No need. Definitely don't need to change your mind. You get the Hydraloth. That's like another big frog. But it's a Yukoloth and not a fiend. Or not a devil, I think. Look, big scary demon frogs are quite popular. This episode is sponsored by the Pinkertons. Leaked another episode. They will hunt you down. Well, there it is. You get the imp. Because that's what Wizards of the Coast is reminding me of lately. Vincent Calabrese, you get Jewy Blex. I like Jewy Blex. He may be a giant, chaotic, evil demon, but he's also a big slime, and I like slimes. And that will do it for the Boy Wizard tier. Thank you so very, very much. And moving on above and beyond, we go to the inappropriate Joey Wheeler tier, where this week they are all going to get a movie that heavily features chainsaws as Joey Wheeler to watch and enjoy, or not. And Shaun, that's me. It's a little hard to do this bit on my own. We'll give a 5-word review of each. We'll give a 5-word summary of each movie to try and sell it to you. Starting with Rem's Dear Old Mom. You get Dead Snow. And you know what that is? That's a movie about, I shit you not, Nazi zombies. Yeah, I shit you not, Nazi zombies. That works. Perfect. Hermione Pegs, Harry and Ron. You're going to get Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers. And the review for that one is, the summary for that one is, where are her clothes? That's chainsaw. There we go. My doctor says I'm low on vitamin D, so I'm listening to all the episodes featuring Daddy D's sultry voice. You get, very appropriately, one of his favorites, Army of Darkness. Bruce Campbell's chin uses chainsaw. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. Go watch it. Dylan will love you forever if you do. And finally, watch Saints Young Men from RIMAW. You're going to get, most appropriately, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That man eats people's faces. There we go. And that's all we have to say. So once again, thank you all so much for tuning in. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, or recommendations, you can send them on over to animeoutofcontext@gmail.com or find us on Twitter at AnimeConPod. And once again, we love and appreciate you very, very much. And as always, don't fuck your sister. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Man, this is lonely. Yeah, no, this is like, is there a correlation between rain and pizza? Oh, God. Yeah, no, hey, are you recording right now? Are you recording right now? No, yeah, are you recording right now? Like, we need to, yeah, record? Yeah, please start recording right now, because we need to have a conversation about this.
All right. Should we do a clap sync?
Yep. All right. Clap sync on Mark in 3, 2, 1, Mark. Okay, so we were just gonna jump straight into the episode, but then we heard the most buck-wild, crazy thing on the face of the planet. And David, I want you to explain yourself.
Yeah, explain it on your own terms.
So I just think that pizza tastes better if you eat it when it's raining. I just think that, it's just what you eat when it's raining. It's like how in Japan, everyone eats croquettes when there's going to be a hurricane or a typhoon.
David,
you eat pizza when it's raining.
David, it goes further than this, though. You have a justification.
Yeah, so my
for
main
it.
theory is I genuinely think that the pizza tastes better because somehow I think like
just
it kind
somehow,
of steam
some way.
it kind of further steam cooks the pizza, the heat difference between the humidity in the air.
Are
when
they
it's
cooking
raining.
the pizza
and
outside?
Yeah, like
some in New York City when space is tight sometimes.
Is that where you're getting your pizza at 100% of the time?
I don't see how that's relevant to
David has laid out like
then there's going to be a negligible difference in the humidity levels.
Listen, when you eat when you eat pizza like me, a negligible difference, buddy.
oh
that
god,
makes
it's
all
the
the
New York
difference.
tap water
Thank
thing
you
all
so
over
much,
again.
you guys.
Oh, God.
I
No,
have
the
been
New York
I don't
tap
even
water
feel like
thing
I-
has some merit to it. The
Jordan-
rain does not.
Wait, Jordan, I feel like have you guys even been
yes,
to
I
New York
have.
City and had New York pizza? Well, fuck
I
me,
have.
because I wasn't expecting you to say yes. I know you have, Jordan. You're an hour and a half away from
yes,
me.
yes. You're
Though
like,
our
if
friend-
you
we had
have, you would have known that obviously this pizza is only good because of the humidity.
And the tap water.
Yes.
You're getting extra New York City water
Oh,
on your
hey,
pizza. This is
I-
really
Wait,
adds my theory.
are you just like going outside with your nice cooked pizza, getting a few drops on it, and then eating it? Is that?
I do eat it by an open window, yes.
Well, is that what you do? Explain yourself, because you are saying it as if it's some universal quality. Like it doesn't matter how you make the pizza, where you make the pizza, where you eat the pizza. The rain will make it better.
Maybe it's the ambience of it. It's
man.
it's like how sake tastes better if you pour it facing the direction of Japan.
what?
Okay.
Guys, this is your problem now.
And for the record, if you're in Japan, you have to pour it towards Mount Fuji.
Look, I understand if you want to be like, these are the rituals in which I eat food, or like, I like the vibe, or this is a fun thing I enjoy doing. All
That's
of
what
that,
I'm saying.
I understand. But saying that I think that for genuine, actual, physical reasons, pizza objectively tastes better when it happens to be raining.
That's what I'm saying.
I think there was a
just
period
like-
in time where you just get the box is rained on a little bit. It adds some extra moisture. To
Okay,
the pizza,
okay,
and it
wait.
just
Is
tastes
that a
a little bit.
prerequisite? Are we
I,
establishing
for the record,
it as a
will heat up
prerequisite?
pizza with. I use the pan method to heat up pizza, and I will actually pour water in the pan.
Are you pouring the rainwater in the pan?
When I yes, I save it. I have a bucket. I save for when I'm warming up the
let me
pizza
ask you
tomorrow.
this. Let me ask you this so we can really just clarify what the fuck
don't
we're
know how much
talking
he's
about
joking.
now.
I can't wait
don't
for this
know.
to be your pre-banter that has like 15,000 listens.
All right, I go to a pizzeria. All right,
They have those.
they
In Utah?
make me a pizza inside. I then eat the pizza inside. At no stage does anybody go outside or interact with the raining outside.
So you're
Does that
saying that
pizza
during this
taste
entire
better?
process, the door to the pizzeria is never. You're in like a holding cell. This entire thing is like a military complex.
It's a slow day for this pizzeria.
Yeah.
So the door
Okay.
happens to not open. Does the pizza
what
taste
about
better
when you
in this
opened it up?
circumstance?
When
then?
you
No, just
already
answer-
opened the
no,
door
just
up to the
answer
pizzeria to
fucking
get
question.
inside.
They haven't started to make the pizza. Does that make the pizza taste better? Just the fact that it's raining outside. Yeah.
No,
Look,
and that was
look.
never. I was saying when they carry the pizza, deliver it to you, and the
This
box
man-
gets wet.
This man has the audacity
It has
to be
that
like,
extra
how
water
ridiculous,
exposure.
how absurd for you to think that, Remington. Of course it wouldn't make a difference. That's what I'm fucking saying.
This is why I didn't get. This is why I didn't get allowed in a mitzvah.
So
God.
I remember that. I actually took an IQ test where it was like he may be very smart, but he refused to finish the test. So we can't actually know if he's smart. how
Unfortunately, it
smart he
started
is.
That's
raining,
smart.
and so he
That's how you
immediately
do it.
started eating pizza. We couldn't get him to finish. We couldn't get him to focus.
he
after
immediately
that.
left the
I'm
premise.
actually eating pizza
got a
right
slice
now.
of pie.
Look, guys, I will say I agree with you, but I should point out you live in a desert.
That's
Yeah,
true.
it's true.
we
You're
we
right,
do
you're
live in a
right.
desert.
They haven't seen water in
Oh,
years.
God.
Like I agree with you.
I wish it
I
rained
agree
more.
with you.
Yeah. Well, hey,
Yeah,
we've
but,
seen
like,
frozen water.
You know,
Lots of it. But
Does
And when it
ice
comes
have
from
the
the
same
sky, it's
effect,
called
David? Does
snow.
snow?
Yeah, that's a good
Does snow
question.
have the
Does
same
snow
effect?
have the same effect?
No, of course
No,
not.
of course not.
Why
What
would
a
you?
silly question, Jordan.
You'd have to leave the pizza out for much longer, because then it'd have to melt to hydrate the pizza.
David, just like, what if you just ran a sink over your, like tap water over your pizza, like they were saying? Just put it in the fucking sink, turn on
I'm
the
not
tabs.
I'm not. Okay.
Sometimes-
Okay. I'm not sloppying. I'm not sloppying my pizza.
Okay,
Which that is a I think you should leave reference for anyone super
Okay.
Hey,
with a
new
500
season
IQ that's
coming
seen that show.
coming at the end of May. But
okay.
But sometimes, David, I
What
feel
if-
It's a great show.
like you're extremely like smart and stable and like you're just
No.
a functioning member of society.
No.
And then you occasionally just come out with some bonkers shit.
Yeah. See, this is the real David. This is the David that
This
everything
is like
else
how
is a
Terrence
facade.
Howard. This is like
This
how
is
Terrence
David.
Howard thinks that like it's like 1 × 1 = 2 or something, and he has his
Yeah,
own
yeah,
form
yeah,
of
yeah,
math.
yeah.
hey, so David, if me and Rem were to come and visit you in New York and it happened to be raining, you would be 100% convinced that if we all went out to grab pizza, that we would just have a grander experience as a whole.
Yes.
Well, to keep in mind,
Absolutely.
you guys do then need to have the same pizza.
Yeah, we need a control group.
Later. Exactly, you need a
without it
control
raining.
group.
That shouldn't be too hard,
You
because
know?
if we stay like 3 days in New York and it happens to rain, we just get pizza on 2 different days. Easy. So
Yeah.
Rem, that's our
Yeah,
plan
unless-
for the future.
unless-
We've got to go to New York and we got to
Perfect.
test
We're
it
on
ourselves.
our way to New York now.
We're going.
Okay. All right. You guys come visit anytime.
God,
That's a lot. That's a very pregnant pause.
There we go.
Just need to emotionally recover.
Yeah,
All right,
we-
let's get into the actual episode.
All right.
Okay.
How about this? If you guys are in New York City, I'll treat you to pizza if it's raining.
only if it's raining, though.
Perfect.
My
Only
treat.
if it's raining.
Only if it's raining. If it's not, you're on mine.
Christ. Okay. All right.
So
oh, thank you so much, you guys. I felt insane. It was like, no, what? Of course that's how it is. No, yeah, I think it makes total sense. And I'm just like,
the skillet is
David,
the skillet is, however, the best way to warm up
that
a
was
pizza.
never part of the issue.
Sure,
That
sure.
was never
that was
the issue.
never
I'm just
part
saying.
of this.
But you use water when you use the skillet method, so there's something to it. There's a nugget
losing my
of
mind.
think it has to do
truth
with-
in my
I think that's different.
We need
I
to
feel like
talk
you like
about
water in
anime.
general.
We
Oh
need
my
to.
God.
We need to.
Yes, you're right.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
not expecting fucking Obama cookies part 2.
God, what a time.
God, David. Okay, I love you, buddy, but my goodness.
Forgot about Obama cookies.
So,
I love you too.
all right, let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Mark